thought we should do like a superhero bird program because like the peregrine falcon is the fastest animal in the world. Kestrels have ultraviolet vision. Barn owls are incredible creatures as well. You know, we put all the owls in the world in one group, and then barn owls are in their own group because they're just different than the others. If you think about any owl in your mind. Most people picture this really fluffy, round owl. These guys are not fluffy and round. They're very tall and slender. For one thing, they're very tall and slender. You can see those extra long, skinny legs. She stretched a couple times today, and some people got to really see those long legs. Barn owls also have a special talent. They have a couple special talents, but one of them is unique to barn owls, and it has kind of little cuts on the side of it, and they use that just like a comb to groom themselves. None of the other owls in the world have that. It's pretty special. Now, let's talk about what makes her a superhero, in my mind. She has the greatest hearing of any animal on land. Pretty much her entire face works the way that these flaps of skin on the side of her head do. Now, most people say, oh, those are your ears. Not technically. These are called pinna. It's just a flap of skin. Wrestlers, and if something happens to their ear and they have to have it removed, you can still hear because your ear is actually all the mechanics inside that hole that the skin goes around. All these puppies do are increase the surface area so that you can catch those sound waves. In fact, when you want to hear better, we go like this because you're adding more surface area, you're catching more sound waves. You can do it right now and you'll hear the difference in my voice. She uses her whole face to do that. She can control all the feathers on her face. She can make little tunnels going back to her ears. The little heart-shaped the heart-shaped feathers around her face, those are very stiff feathers compared to the soft ones on her body. And she can move those around just like a satellite dish to catch sound waves. Now, she's a little tired right now. She actually fell asleep when we had the last speaker in here. I looked over at her and she was going like that. I'm like, oh, she's not interested in the watershed. We were, but she was starting to fall asleep, I think, because it was so quiet. When she's a little bit more excited, and you may see her do it while you're in here, she'll go like this. It's really fun to get about 200 fifth graders to all do this at the same time. When you see an owl doing that, or the kestrel, a lot of times what they're doing is triangulation. Humans can triangulate, we just need a couple cell phone towers and a lot of electronic equipment to do it. She can do it with her face. She is literally making a triangle between something that's making a sound and her two ears. And she can do that in a split second. Now, we don't see sound waves, but it's literally a way of going through, radiating away from whatever is making the sound. And when she rocks her head back and forth, that sound wave comes in. And the moment that a single sound wave hits both of her ears at the exact same moment, 1, 2, 3, she knows exactly where it is. And it is so sharp that she can locate a mouse over 1/4 of a mile away. Now just think about a dog barking 1/4 of a mile away. We'd be lucky to hear that. Think about how quiet a mouse would be in a field. And think about all the other sounds in that field between her and the mouse. She can pinpoint the sound that the mouse is making. She can tell the difference between those sound waves and 2 blades of grass brushing up against each other, or a coyote walking through the field. She can tell the difference between all those sounds. I just got goosebumps. I'm such a nerd. But I mean, that's absolutely incredible. I can't possibly wrap my mind around what it would be like to have that kind of hearing. Now, you might hear that and think, oh, this poor bird, she's been in this room all day, it's been so loud, don't feel too bad for her. She has little flaps of skin that look kind of like our ears, and she can actually shut those holes off when she's in a loud environment, so she can take a little break. I just love these guys. So each one of them, let's see, I want to tell you something else about owls, a couple things. A lot of people think that owls can turn their head in a complete circle. They can actually do about 270 degrees, which is 3/4 of a turn. Now when something has their attention and they're trying to triangulate, they'll rotate that head back and forth trying to find the best angle. So it looks like their head's just spinning in circles, but they can't really do that. We joke they can only do that once, which it's a bad joke, but yeah, kids don't get that joke. But they have 14 vertebrae in their neck. We only have 7, giraffes only have 7, but she's got 14, and each one turns a little bit further than the one before it, allowing her to do that 270 degrees. And you might have noticed the eagle and the kestrel can do that as well. I'm not sure how many vertebrae they have in their neck. Now the other thing, and I love this fact, people from the time we're babies, we're trained to think that all owls hoot. We say to a toddler, "What does the owl say?" And they go, "Woo!" We've been lied to our whole lives. We have 14 different kinds of owls in Colorado. I think we have 19 in North America. Of those 19, only 4 hoot. The other 15 scream and screech and click and snap and bark and meow like a really mad cat, but they never ever hoot. In Colorado, we only have 2 hoot owls. One is the great horned owl. We see it a lot because it comes out at dawn and dusk. It lives in neighborhoods because it'll eat cats and rabbits and just about anything, skunks. And then we have long-eared owls, which are a little bit more rare. Would you guys like to learn the difference between those 4 hoots? Yeah? Okay. Because I'll totally imitate them for you. I don't mind. And you can laugh at me. Little disclaimer, I love it. I don't care if you're laughing at me or with me. It's all good. In Colorado, we'll start with the 2 Colorado owls because they all sound very different. You can be an owl hoot expert after today. Great horned owl. They almost always sound like this. They have that skip in their hoot. Sometimes they get a little excited and they'll go but for the most part it sounds just like that. The only other owl that hoots in Colorado, the long-eared owl, and on our free bookmarks we have a bunch of owls on there. The great horned owl's on one end, the long-eared owl's on the other end. They look like a miniature great horned owl. They hoot like this. And they wait. Dawn, the volunteer holding, or that the eagle's holding, her and I, we heard this weird sound one night at HawkQuest, and I was like, "Is that a cow?" And we couldn't figure it out, and then this box with wings flew over, which is what we call owls because they look like a box with wings. And it was 2 long-eared owls flew right over us. It was very exciting. It's the only time I've ever seen them, but they sounded like a cow mooing. If you go back east, you might hear the barred owl, or no, I should do the great gray owl. I'll save the best for last. The great gray owl hoots like this. And we'll do 10 of those in a row. Remember, you can laugh at me. It's okay. It's very silly. I get it. And my favorite owl, and this one I think is just the best hoot ever. They sound so joyful. And we take care of a barred owl, named so because of the bars on their chest. They hoot like this. I just love them. We've heard ours do that a couple times, and it just gets you right here when you hear them do it. It's so adorable. So not all owls hoot. This one, actually, she does a pretty terrifying scream in the middle of the night. So a little story to finish up with. When I was a child, I spent part of my childhood in Southern California, and I woke up about every time, it was about 2 in the morning, and my mom was fighting cancer at the time, so I was really stressed out, and I was in junior high, which again is a terrible time for just about everybody, and I kept waking up and hearing this scream in the middle of the night, and it was absolutely terrifying, and I woke up my parents, they never heard it. I think they started to think I was really losing it, like the stress was getting to me. And then one night at HawkQuest, it was really late and we were putting the birds away, and I heard that same sound that I heard as a child. And my heart was beating. I walked into the building to keep the birds in. The sound got louder and louder. I turned the corner and saw this bird making that sound. And I thought, if only I had known that that terrifying pterodactyl screaming in the middle of the night is actually a beautiful barn owl. I probably would have rested a lot easier. Well, thank you guys very much for sitting here and listening to me.